Hey, Pastor Josh here. We're reading Genesis chapter 7, verses 17 through 24. Noah and his family are safely in the ark, and the waters are rising on the earth. It says that in verse 17, the flood continued 40 days on the earth. So it was raining without stop, and then the fountains from the bottom coming up for 40 days and 40 nights. And then it says, the waters increased and bore up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. The waters prevailed and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the face of the waters. Now, there's a promise to claim right there. Noah and his family are being saved from the judgment of God, and they are floating right there on the waters of the great flood. We will be saved ourselves from the great judgment of God. We will be saved from hell if we trust in Jesus and embrace our salvation. But I also want to point out that this is the same terminology if you go back to Genesis chapter 1. When God created the heavens and the earth, it says that the Spirit hovered over the face of the waters. Before He said, "Let there be light," and there was light, the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. It says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and the Spirit of God hovered over the face of the water." So we see this creative act of God in Genesis 1. And this is the same thing that's happening. There is a creative act of God. There's a recreation that's happening with this great flood. Everything is being destroyed and something is starting anew. We have a new humanity coming about. It's a restart button on the human race. And this, in the end, will be a creative act. Out of destruction will come new birth, will become a new humanity. Verse 19, and the waters prevailed so mightily on the earth that all the high mountains under the whole heaven were covered. So this is a massive flood. This is massive. The water is covering the highest mountains, and the waters prevailed above the mountains, covering them 15 cubits deep, and all flesh died. Right there are sins to confess. The waters prevailed, all flesh died. Why did that happen? That is because humanity was not doing what they were supposed to be doing. They were supposed to be ruling the earth well. They were supposed to be taking dominion over it, and they were supposed to be filling the earth with blessings and production. But instead, they were filling the earth with violence and hatred. And because of their actions, creation is then destroyed. This is the consequence of their actions. Waters are prevailing on the earth, and all flesh died. What sins are you toying with that perhaps will lead to dire consequences? We want to do what's right because it honors the Lord, but it is helpful for us to think and reflect on what the consequences would be if we continue down a particular sinful road, if we continue to do sinful things and disobey the Lord. Consequences come. And in this case, the consequences for humanity was that the waters were prevailing over the earth and all flesh died. And it did say all flesh that moved on the earth, birds, livestock, beasts, all swarming creatures that swarm on the earth, and all mankind, everything on the dry land. So remember, I said this a few videos ago. It was only the animals and the birds on the land that was completely destroyed. The fish and the aquatic animals would have made it through. Now, we do have to remember that it was a cataclysmic flood. And so it wasn't just that it had rained and it was kind of a drizzle rain. This was a torrent of rain, and there would have been tsunami type stuff, earthquakes in the bottom, perhaps even where there's this massive water. So there's this massive movement of the Earth's topography. And so even though the fish could survive because their natural home is the water, I would still assume that a vast majority of even the aquatic life would have died because of the massiveness of this flood. So everything on the dry land in whose nostrils was the breath of life died. He blotted out everything that was on the face of the ground, man and animals and creeping things and birds of the heavens. They were blotted out from the earth. Only Noah was left, and those who were with him in the ark. There's an example for us to follow. Noah was not alone. He had his family with him. He had people accompanying him. And I'm wondering, who is it that you need to be sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ with? You don't want to be alone either. Especially if your family and your friends and your coworkers are not believers or not following after Christ, you don't want to leave them alone. You would love to have them with you in heaven. You would love to have them with you in church. You would love to have them with you in the goodness that God has promised, not outside this place of salvation in destruction. There were people with Noah. And we know that it was his wife, his sons, and his sons' wives were with him. So it was his immediate family. But we're told elsewhere in the New Testament that Noah was a preacher of righteousness. And if anybody else would have believed, I am pretty sure, I'm convinced that they would have been able to get on the ark as well. But everybody ignored Noah. They didn't believe Noah. And it was only Noah and his immediate family. And the waters prevailed on the earth 150 days. What a cataclysmic disaster this was. Pray that has been a blessing to you, and I will see you all in the next video.